The following is brought to you in part by a grant from the Foundation for White Wellbeing.
We are able to hear me, I hope, right now. We are rolling in, going free, Church of the West, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to see all of you. Let me know that you can hear me okay. It is Wednesday, 7 p.m., and that means we are rolling in here, and all of our systems appear to be up and beautiful, as always. Thank you all for coming over. It's good to see. There's the great Justin McDaniel and the Tree Godfather, Prometheum Hales. Dan is here. Billy Boy is here. Julian is here. Rapunzel is here. The Nameless One, Janitor of White Noir, is here. Sounds good. Well, thank you so much. Cuttown is in the house. Good to see you all. Well, why don't we just go ahead and jump into some news? This just happened. Montana Senator Sheehy gets in altercation with veteran anti-war protester on Capitol Hill. Video shows Sheehy rushing to join 3 Capitol police officers who were, I guess, removing the protester. So this was a This was a Senate Armed Services Subcommittee meeting, and a Marine anti-war protester who is a member of the Green Party of all parties. Nothing can be white positive, apparently. It's always something other than openly caring about the white race and white positivity. So he's a Green Party member. He's running for office in North Carolina. And he decided to show up at this subcommittee hearing and protest war for Israel. And so he stood up, and he was in his uniform, and the Capitol Police, I guess it was 3 of them, went to try to remove him, but he's still healthy enough to make it difficult to have to remove him. So he is Israel's slave and servant, decided that he was going to remove this guy. And as they were dragging him out, some video was captured of this veteran grabbing a hold of the door. And as they're dragging him, they picked him up off the ground in order to drag him out. And he grabbed onto the door. Well, it was the door jam, and the door potentially crushed his hand, broke his hand. He wasn't yelping like it was actively being crushed, but it very well could have broken maybe some bones in the hand. But let's get into it, and we'll take a look. Juliet is here. Hello and welcome. Herman is here. I am always well. Thank you for asking. I am splendid. So it's like I said, I mean, you have all these cucks out there that are saying people are war weary, and we're not nearly as war weary. The average white American, as we are weary of fighting Israel's conflicts. Everyone can see this. And if we had white positivity, the white population would be able to say it. The white population would be able to say, no, we're not fighting for the Israelis. But they're not able to say it now. They're not able to, and no amount of hate the Jews and throw them all out of the country is ever going to get the white population to stand up and say, no, this is a problem for us, for our people, for white people. No hating the Jews is going to ever achieve that. So sorry if that was what your bent was. It's never worked in the past, and it never will work in the present or future. Period. Into conversation, dum-dums out there. So it's a real shame that this guy can't be representative of our race, that he can't stand up and say, no, what about the white race? No, this isn't good for the white race. This isn't good for us. And then the many millions of white Americans that have had enough with fighting Israel's wars, and they're kind of being lied to about it's really for your own good that you fight all of the wars of the Israelis. No, thank you. But they're not able to say that. They're only able to express their discontent in private, in secret. And every now and again, you get somebody like this that's willing to ruin the rest of their lives. But if these folks, if these white millions that we're talking about here, our brothers and sisters, the vagues out there in their tens of millions, are able to get a hold of it regularly, the lexical and dialectical armory of the Go Free Dialogic, if they're able to get a hold of it regularly, they'll be able to use it in their speech and in their arguments. And then suddenly it will occur to them, I know how to object to fighting, being a lapdog, a sycophant for the country of Israel. They will finally be able to put it together and be able to go to work and win friend, families, and circles, and be able to say, this isn't good for my people. So I'm done. I'm sick of it. It's hurting my people, my white race, my Western kind. I'm a Westman. They're Jews. It's good for them in Israel. It's not good for me in the United States. It's not good for my people anywhere on planet Earth. So enough is enough. That's where we have to reach if there's ever going to be any real change. Of course, you all know that, who are bright enough to come over here. Maybe you had to set an alarm in your phone. Maybe you had to, whatever it is, you had to find out. You had to set the alarm on the grandfather clock in the living room so that you knew to show up here, because the odds that you're going to get an alert are slimmer and slimmer by the day, as I'm the most shadow banned man in the world, because we have the answers. Montana Senator Tim Sheehy looks like a total white guy, but boy, he's going to crush you if you object to fighting Israel's conflicts, if you object to being a bitch for the state of Israel, then he's going to make sure that you get broken up and removed from the meeting. He's going to be assisting the Capitol Police. What a loser this guy is. He got into an altercation with an anti-war protester during, that's not helping. See if I can do this. During an armed service subcommittee meeting that appears to have left the protester with a broken arm. And this is not yet confirmed, but he's probably injured to some degree, even if there are no broken bones. In a video shared by CBS News, Alan Heath, 3 Capitol Police officers are working to subdue, I don't know why this is written this way, and eject Brian McGinnis is the guy's name, a Marine Corps veteran and Green Party candidate for the U.S. Senate in North Carolina, who shouts, "No one wants to fight for Israel." Exactly. Brian is right. He might be a dumbass, Green Party. He might never be interested in standing up for the white race, but he's right about this. He's absolutely. We're sick of it. We are sick of it. We don't care how many hundreds of millions of Israeli firster Jews are in the United States, how much dollars they give, rather hundreds of millions of dollars these Israeli firster Jews in the United States give to Trump and the Republican. We don't care. We're sick of it. God's sake. In a video, okay, so he is seen rushing. Now, you want to know how dumb white people are and how pathetic and pussified they are? That they'll hear about this and then they'll contemplate, should I join the Green Party? That's how pathetic the white race is. No, don't take up the remedy to all of this. Instead, join a party that potentially objects to fighting Israel's wars. At least until Jewish Israeli firsters, anti-whites in the United States, because it's at our expense, decide to show up at the Green Party and start throwing some money around. Then everything will change. She is seen rushing in to help subdue McGinnis, grabbing his lower leg as the Capitol Police attempt to carry him through the hearing room door. McGinnis hooks one of his arms around the door frame, and she moves to wrap an arm around McGinnis's shoulder and pry him away from the door. An audible snap is heard on the video. We'll listen for that. And it appears that either McGinnis's lower arm or wrist broke. She reposted the video on his own social media account with the statement, Capitol Police were attempting to remove an unhinged protester from the armed services hearing. He was fighting back because if you object to being a bitch for Israel, then you're unhinged. You're pathologized. Wait until you hear what Satan Yahoo, the kind of things that this mother is saying on Sean Hannity. My God, it is unbelievable. So an unhinged man, he was fighting back. I decided to help out and de-escalate. It looked like de-escalation to me too, a bitch. This gentleman came to the Capitol looking for a confrontation, and he got one. I hope he gets the help he needs without causing further violence. In another video showing McGinnis being escorted away, he expresses support for now imagine if we had a people. Imagine if we had a people that we're working on and we're creating here. So it's not just fantasy. Imagine if we had a people and we could see how this he behaved, and we are sick and tired of being exploited by Israel, of being used and their wars being fought at our expense again and again, and our reputation again and again, and lied to again and again and again. And we could show up at this motherfucker's office. We could show up, maybe 1,000, maybe 10,000 of us. His whole staff terrified, unable to leave the office because of the furious mob outside, sick and tired of being exploited by Israel. I think he would come around. I think he would come around and say, hold on, folks, hold on. I'll start voting for you. I'll start making sure white people get their due. I'll start making sure there is no more persecution and discrimination of white people, no more exploitation of white. I think that's what he would do. But you're not going to get to 1,000 or 10,000 showing up unless you develop a people out of our deracinated race, which is not going to happen by being anti-non-white, by hating people because they're born Jewish in this case. In a statement, a public information officer from Capitol Hill Police said McGinnis was treated for an injury, but did not specify the injury. The Capitol Police also said 3 officers had to be treated for their injuries. Oh, poor babies. You know, every single time I see this, this Marine guy appears to be, we'll have a look at him. I only saw literally like 2 seconds just before we got started here. Appears to be a white guy. Why is it every time I see them, I just saw them getting hauled out of a meeting, some females screaming anti-white garbage, and it's all kid gloves. It's all just let's go, let's go. It's all kid gloves. Why not? Why aren't they bashed? Why aren't they anti-whites? Well, we know the answer to that. Social morality is anti-whiteism across the West. That's why we're supplanting it with a white positive morality, where the anti-white garbage gets bashed, where the white positive people are treated with respect and hands off. Hands off. We understand your suffering, where all your pain is coming from. And we understand that you want to be heard. We'll give you 5 minutes at the microphone. That's the world that we are working to create. Protests are not allowed inside the congressional building. There are plenty of other spots on Capitol grounds outside where they've set up spots where no one will ever see you or hear you. I know. We understand. You have shafted people, whites, who complain about our victimization to those places all the time. It just so happens that the anti-whites are never shafted and shunted into these places where no one will see or hear from them. The Daily Montanan sent questions about the incident to Sheehy's office, but did not receive a response. So here's the video. I've got it here. We'll take a look at it now. I guess that's going to be it. There's not a whole lot known. Senator Sheehy joined Capitol Police in lifting up and ejecting anti-war protester Brian McGinnis from a SASC subcommittee hearing. McGinnis is a Green Party candidate running for the Senate in North Carolina. An anti-war activist filmed the video below. So there he is right there. Definitely at this point appearing to be a white man. And here you have all of this effort to remove this guy really violently because he's objecting to us being exploited by the Israelis again, used by the Israelis, fighting the wars for the Israelis, all of it done at our expense. So let's see. And there's the senator right there. There's Sheehy, the bitch. You can see here he's leaned over, and this is a normal posture for him every day around 3 o'clock or so when he heads over to the sauna. This is a position he assumes.
Out! No one wants to fight for Israel!
His hand.
Oh, it did break. It did break. Shit. Son of a bitch. His forearm broke. Wow. And his forearm just broke there. And now Sheehy is going to push more on the injured limb. He's going to add more leverage to the injured limb.
Oh, his hand.
Look, he's totally stopped talking because of the sensation, which if you've never broken a bone before, it's very hot. It's very wet. It's a very unusual experience.
Sir. Let go of your hand. Let go of the door. Let go of the door. The senator broke his hand.
Not his hand, his forearm.
A sitting U.S. senator just broke the hand of a Marine.
So you can hear the other anti-war guy probably came with McGinnis here.
Sir. control your Senate.
Arm stuck in the door. Okay, sir.
A U.S. Senator just broke the head
Looks like he's getting a little bit lightheaded, probably from the sensation of it being deformed, going into shock.
of a Marine. A U.S. Senator just broke the hand of a Marine.
There he goes right there.
That's why you got kicked out, fat ass.
Everybody sit down, please. Sit down, please. Everybody sit down.
His arm is still stuck in there.
Sit down, please.
I'm getting out of here.
That's fine. Everybody sit down, please. Is your hand okay?
No, it's not.
This is disgusting. Disgusting.
Just pull it
This is
out.
disgusting.
All right. It happens really early.
What's the fight?
It's about, this is his elbow. So, warning, if you, I don't think it's just a delocation. Maybe it's a delocation. But warning, if you're squeamish, don't look at this part of the arm.
For Israel!
His hand is.
There, right there. Wow. And you can see his look on his face now has changed. There. Yeah, there's no joint there. So it looks like it's the big bone. Maybe both. Maybe it's a silver fork fracture. First Last has just joined us. And so this is how you're treated if you're a white guy and you don't want to fight Israel's wars. And this is just happened. This news is just breaking. So I wanted to interrupt what we had planned to share that with you. Ulrich is with us. Good to see you. Dan is here. Masumik is here. 548 is here. Make sure you change the chat on YouTube to live chat. Cindy Ben is here rather than top chat. Cool Papa J Magic. God bless the heroes. Franklinator is here. And Frank is here. Deep Web is in the house. Welcome to you all. Thank you for the champions coming over. Problematic Biospirit. Potter is here. Welcome to you. Along with GS. Yep, this is how you're treated. Hyperborean Dream, good to see you. This is how you're treated if you object to being used for Israel's wars. Biospirit of the West is in the house. Wonderful to see you, good sir. Billy Boy is here. Thank you all for getting back to me. The feedback on the sound. Yeah, it's a new arm joint. Yeah, it definitely doesn't bend there. That's an unusual place for it to bend. So, but I did want to start off with this. Laura Loomer. She decided she was going to tweet yesterday. I guess, no, it was early, very early. No, when was it? Oh, it was a day before that. So day before yesterday. You had, she tweeted, after all of her tweets about Israel is the United States and America first is Israel first. America first is, and if there needs to be a World War III for Israel, then there should be a World War III for Israel. This is your so-called right wing in the United States. This is the so-called resistance to our victimization. And you don't have a voice at all except for right here in this community. So then this little skank, in the devious way that she and other anti-whites like her, she says, Cuba next. Cuba is next. So I decided to write this to this little skank. I said, F yourself, anti-white. Of course, she's not going to respond to me, but I tagged her as well. I said, your people got what they wanted in the Middle East at my people's expense. Now you ingratiate yourself with my people on the right with a convenient statement about a Cuban invasion that you know will never happen. So this is so typical. This is so absolutely typical of anti-whites like Laura Loomer, and specifically her. They get everything they want, and then they're like, I'll throw you a crumb about something that will never happen. Oh, this will be for you. Oh, I want this thing for you. It's for us. It's for us. And she knows it'll never happen. There'll be no invasion of Cuba. And how is that going to benefit us anyhow? But that's the kind of red meat that these neocon, anti-white, conservative, Zionist Jews will throw to you to make you feel like, oh, we're still on the same side. We're still, yes, you're supposed to be subservient, sycophantic, slave-like dog to the desires of my people. And if you're not, well, then you're not American. You should be silenced, on and on. Because Israel first is America first. I mean, unbelievable. And George Washington specifically talked about these kind of entanglements. But of course, people like Laura Loomer, here's the beautiful thing about this, what you all know here. George Washington could have not only said what he said about foreign entanglements, he could have written it in his own blood, and it would be ignored. And if it couldn't be ignored, it would be interpreted to mean the exact opposite of what he wrote. The exact opposite. That's why you need white positivity. That's why you need to be in your own story. Because if you can't, you're just going to forever be chasing your tail around and manipulated by people like Laura Loomer, this hideous beast from the ass of Netanyahu. Every time that dirty mother farts, another Laura Loomer comes out. So then I add some truth. I said, actually, no. If your people push for a war with Cuba, it'll happen, and it'll happen at our expense. Your bio states feisty Jewess, but you misspelled hideous inbred twat. I finish with Israel first is America last. Go free or go extinct. This is the only correct position to take. The great clean one is better than the world. So is Princess Noodles. So is Ivan, all reposting the stream here. And if you're reposting, sharing, resharing, posting it, etc., and it's not showing up for me, big salutes to you and thank you as well. Much gratitude for that, because otherwise no one's going to know. The people are just going to be showing up for all these anti-Jew streams that there just isn't enough of, right? They're just everywhere. We have Great Dallas Malloy, Bone Secure, and Savage Monday are all here on Premium Rumble. Great to see you all. Thank you so much for being here on this Wednesday Roland Church of the West. What do we have here? We have Captain Obvious refers to Laura Loomer as loser, has been promised a position as hostess at the, what is that? Navarro Lansky Casino, Havana. Oh, so she wants, okay. That's why she wants. Here you have a piece of garbage, an anti-Jew. Says, wow, even Jason Kuna is named. Well, no, that's not the one. There's a different one. So he says, even Jason Kuna is naming the Jew. Not naming the Jew. I'm naming the white race. I'm focused on us. Because if you don't talk, what you don't talk about, I found an interesting little clip from a guy made a statement, said, and we'll play it shortly, that what you don't talk about dies. Well, what don't they talk about in the anti-Jew, the schmuckery? They don't talk about the white race. That's what I'm talking about. I'm angry about being used. I'm angry about being exploited. I am not angry about the percentage of the overall Jewish population that behaves this way. No, I say that's a beautiful way to behave, and we need to emulate it. So I'm not angry about their behavior at all. I celebrate that behavior. That is the only path to victory.
A new Turkish threat.
That's the only way we're going to be able to recapture our destiny. So, not naming the Jew, naming the white race, naming the Westman, naming Western kind. This one says, she was crying about being deplatformed and censored 5 years ago. And now that she's back, she's calling for everyone that criticizes Israel to be censored and deplatformed. Does that seem like a double standard? We know in this community that's not a double standard. She's anti-white. So both of those statements are perfectly in keep. You can't ban me because that's an infringement on free speech, and you must ban everybody else who's white and doesn't like what's going on with subservience to Israel. This person says, is Israel first, is America last, and more crucially, America first is Israel last. No, I don't agree with that. We pursue our interest. There doesn't have to be any harm done to Israel in our pursuit of our interest. Stay out of our way, and we'll pursue our interest. You pursue yours. Liberty identitarian. Sometimes we agree on things. Sometimes we don't. We definitely don't agree on this. He says that Jews are white. He said there is no your people when it comes to Jews. There absolutely is. My birth makes me a white man, not capable of citizenship in Israel. So there are definitely different groups. So we're just going to have to agree to disagree. This clown down here says, goddamn, even white while peeing is taking the right side on this. Now you remember this, right? First of all, this is what an anti-Jew does with the statement white well-being. So when we talk about the well-being of white people, well-being of white men in their prime, the well-being of white women, the well-being of white children, the well-being of white senior citizens, this anti-Jew piece of useless trash turns white well-being into white while peeing. What does that tell you about their focus? People who hate Jews don't love the white race. They just hate Jews. That's all they do with their life. But you know where this came from? This came from the NJP, the National Justice Party. And when they started using this white while peeing, I decided to retort with something that immediately shut them up. And that is the NJPing, the NJPers, the NJ pissers, the NJ piss drinkers. That's what you had there. More importantly, who still exists? White Wellbeing or the NJP? White Wellbeing still exists. I'm still here, motherfucker. Your little clownish, LARPing Nazi party is gone because it was a joke. Because you all are a joke. You're nothing but clowns. And more importantly, triply now, one of your members in New Hampshire is dead because even though he looked really fine in a mini skirt, he went as a transformer and shot up his whole family and then blew his own head off. So that is the community. Those are the folks that you circulate through. I wonder how many others there were transformers. Maybe you all, I mean, those pool parties, that's a very strange thing for a bunch of these proud Aryan cloud hoppers to be involved in. It's a very strange thing. So to show up, like you, NJ pisser. And you know what? Actually, that's probably what they do at the pool parties. They probably NJ piss on each other. And then this guy down here says, it's nice to see Jason noticing. Again, are you talking about Jews? When Jews pursuing, or any group of people, any other group of people, percentage of the overall the total number of any particular group of people. When they pursue interests that are detrimental to my people, that makes them anti-white. That doesn't make them Jewish or black or Hispanic. I know this is too difficult because you lack the ability to metacognate. So it's like a ceiling for your low IQ. You just keep hitting it. And you can't go further. You're like, oh, all I could do is just like the other person. They look different, so that's what matters. Shut up. Shut up. Go put your mini skirt back on. Prance around in front of the mirror in your double wide, in your wife's high heels, or whatever it is you got going on every night. Fucking idiots. So that's what I had to say for Laura Loomer. Garbage. You can't, this one guy down here said she's next, or what is it? Come on. What do you mean? She's next? Next for what? Next for you to fantasize? You're not going to do shit. Next for she's next. She's going to get it now. She's going to get it. I'm going to make sure she gets it. Shut the fuck up. Nobody is getting any. It's certainly not you. You're not getting any. Nobody is getting anything. God, I'm so tired of hearing these big talkers. She's going to get it. She's going to get it. Look, Satan Yahoo spits these things out every time he takes a dump. So they are a limitless number. So you're going to have to go about this some other way. It's going to have to be another method to take on our victimization. She's going to get it. Shut the fuck up. Insane. All right. Let's take a little bit of look at the war. Military operation against Iran entered its 5th day. On Wednesday, Iran is attempting to choose a new supreme leader, while the U.S. and Israel continues to strike, including Tehran and Lebanon. Kurdish fighters launch ground invasion of Iran. So now the Kurds, it's said that they are armed by the United States and being given intel by the United States to attack Iran. Well, what is that supposed to do? What will launching the Kurds into Iran, what will that achieve? Iran is completely destroyed unless the objective here for Israel, not for the United States, is to break Iran up into a number of different countries. Jennifer Griffin, citing an unnamed U.S. official, thousands of Kurdish fighters in Iraq have launched a ground invasion of Iran. Rubio says Iran missile toward Turkey is unacceptable. Now, there's a question. They sent this missile. It was ostensibly, we're being told, headed toward Turkey. Did they mean for it to go toward Turkey? I mean, come on. Let's be realistic. They're spraying and praying, and how many people are left, and in the fog of war and in the etc., and the equipment itself, what state is it in? Did they really mean to fire it toward Turkey? I mean, if anything, I'm almost more inclined to believe that Mossad launched a missile from Iran toward Turkey, if anything, because what does that immediately do? What is Turkey a member of? So now NATO is involved. So the missile was shot down. Principal Deputy Spokesperson Tammy Pigat said that Secretary of State Marco Rubio told Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan. Is that his name? Is that how you say it? Hakan Fidan. That the Iranian attacks on Turkey's sovereign territory, which apparently included a ballistic missile that was shot down by NATO defense this morning, are unacceptable and pledge full support for the United States. From the United States. Trump touts war effort against Iran during a White House roundtable event on Wednesday. There is polling right now that asks people, hey, if this is going to be like a couple of weeks, how many people approve? And it's almost 80%. So you have a lot of people out there that are saying right now, a lot of the taboo grifters. They always take these contrarian, as shocking, as taboo poking positions that they can take. They're not for any of these things, no matter how sincere they seem. I mean, didn't Sarah Stock seem very sincere? Didn't she fool almost everyone? I mean, she didn't fool me, but didn't she fool almost everyone? She was this gentle little Catholic angel, trad cath. Meanwhile, she's humping her way through the ranks of the alt-right, the alternative, and the taboo grifting syndicate and everything else. She's humping her way through all of it. Such a little hump freak that she was said to be the best that one taboo grifter had ever had. So, not a beginner. Not a beginner. We're in a very strong position now, and their leadership is just rapidly going. Everyone who seems to want to be the leader, they end up dead. Now, of course, this poses a problem that all of these different layers that step up to be leadership, there's only going to be so many layers that the United States are going to have contact with. And my guess is that at this point, it's Israel assassinating the leadership again and again and again, which would undermine what I think America would want to do, which is to find some leadership that'll say, we'll play ball. Just stop hammering the shit out of us. We will play ball. You can come get the nuclear material. Stop attacking. But if those people are killed, who will the United States talk to? Who will they negotiate with? What force is there in Iran that is a security force that can maintain control over the state, over the country? Well, it's only this security force that's already in place. If you kill off all of their leadership and you keep killing them off every time they select new leaders, then what you'll end up with is all of these vying factions. Now, that might be good for Israel, but that won't be good for the United States. But of course, Laura Loomer and these other Israel firsters, they don't care about what's good for you. They care about what's good for the Israelis, what's good for Zionism, what's good for their people at our expense. Why is it not good for us? Because we are the people who will have to manage the mess. Because that percentage of the Jewish population that has beautiful behavior, working for individual well-being by way of group well-being, will use that unified pressure and influence to get the American politicians to exploit and thieve from the white man in the United States so that we can manage the mess that they create in the Middle East. Just imagine what that will be like, trying to manage, instead of it being one potentially every now and again intransigent leadership who really will have learned their lesson. It's only been a couple days, and how many layers of leadership have been killed? They will have learned their lesson. All of their entire Navy just about is sunk. The Soleimani class jewel of their Navy at the bottom of the sea sank off of Sri Lanka, and almost all of their missiles destroyed, missile launchers destroyed, factories for building the missiles all destroyed, everything destroyed, massive life lost, infrastructure totally destroyed. It's going to be much easier to manage if you take these people who already are in control of the state and say, okay, you are now in charge. Don't fuck with us. Look what we did. You're not going to mess with the shipping. You're not going to mess with the, which by the way, the United States has told all of these companies that ship through the strait that, hey, we will insure you. What does that mean exactly? Does that mean my white ass through my tax dollars? That they will insure? That's what it sounds like to me. It doesn't sound like some sort of a private venture is going to give extra and very cheap insurance to these companies to keep shipping moving through the strait. so that the economy around the world doesn't fracture and get bogged down. Sounds like I'm going to have to pay for it, Jews in Israel. That's what it sounds like. You all are going to pay. I understand you all are throwing parties. You notice white people aren't throwing parties over all of this. White people who clearly understand what's going on. Also, Trump said that if necessary, not only will they provide very cheap insurance to these companies, but they will use our Navy to escort the boats, these ships that are owned by billionaires, so that shipping and commerce can continue, so that energy can continue. Great. Israel's not paying for that shit. Absolutely not. I have to. And we're getting sick and tired of it. So, to have people who already are the legitimate authority in the country come to the top, be able to negotiate with them, they've gotten the message. Now, it's not going to be like South America, where you have nothing but criminals. It's not going to be like that, where you can knock off the guy in charge and the number two is going to say, whoa, I'll do whatever you want. Just let me be in charge of all the hookers and the drugs and the state, and I'll do whatever you want. And all the people below that person, they are all living for the here and now. They're all living for the pleasures of the flesh. That doesn't work with Islam. So it won't be the exact same. Over time, the leadership, if they're not doing all that they can over time to fight, to push back, to be problematic for the United States, well, the underlings who believe that their real life is in the afterlife will just go kill them. And they won't mind dying in the process because they get an afterlife, they believe. So, nevertheless, if Israel keeps killing off the leadership so that eventually it just descends into pure anarchy, that is going to be infinitely harder for the United States to manage, infinitely more expensive. It will require troops if Israel keeps this up. You know, Trump had to say, oh, they killed more of them. Now I don't know if we're ever going to know anybody anymore that could be in charge. Funny. He knows very well the problems that makes for the United States. So, of course, what's the issue here? It doesn't matter how fractured, how much of a debacle, the proper use from the perspective of the Iranians, that it is. There's no amount of breaking up that is going to establish some sort of perpetual empowerment of Israel by way of the disempowerment of its neighbors, because Islam is motivating these people, not personal gain, not pleasures of the flesh. Now they'll move in like villains with pornography and drugs and everything else, rest assured, to get the people hooked on the pleasures of the flesh. But it just keeps recurring. I mean, Beirut, back in, what was it, the 80s, they had whores and nightclubs and drugs galore. And they had, like, the 70s, they had like guys with their shirts unbuttoned down to here. Beirut. So they had it all hammered out back in the day. They had it hammered out with the Shah. But it's a very different issue. You're not going to be able to handle these people the way you can handle pure criminals. Another major shipping firm shuts down the Gulf operations. Maybe this is why they made that offer of the insurance. Germany's, is that Hapag-Lloyd Container Shipping Company, one of the largest firms in the world, said it will suspend all bookings to and from the Persian Gulf until further notice. Putin suggests cutting off the taps to Europe. This is all today, by the way. Spain denies it has agreed to cooperate with the U.S. on Iran. White House Press Secretary Leavitt claimed on Wednesday that Madrid had capitulated to allow the United States to use its military bases on the operation in Iran following public pressure from Donald Trump, who threatened a full trade embargo against NATO. Spain has agreed to cooperate militarily in the last few hours, Levitt said. However, El País, how is that pronounced in Spanish? Pasay, the foreign minister, Jose Manuel Alvarez, has categorically denied that Spain will cooperate militarily with the United States on Iran. The Iranian regime thanks Spain. The Iranian president, Masoud Pezeshkian, hailed socialist-run Spain on Wednesday for Madrid's responsible conduct in opposing the Zionist American coalition flagrant human rights violation and military aggression against countries including Iran. Power blackouts across Iraq. Zelensky to dispatch Ukrainian troops to the Gulf. What a joke. Apava says, my only news source is no white guilt. Azimuth Clark is here. Good to see you, brother. What a joke. What could he possibly say? I mean, any kidnapped man, any abducted man that they stole from his family to press into service to fight the Russians, what do you think he's going to do the moment he gets out of country? And it would probably be, they can't even spare a guy. Let's be serious. They might send down some kind of quad amputee, tape a pair of, I could just see it now, tape pair of binoculars to his head. He'll be lookout. According to the U.S. Central Command, Navy has struck or sunk to the bottom of the ocean over 20 ships belonging to the Iranian Navy. So as you all probably guessed, the B-52s have been flying and dropping ungodly amounts of bombs, our dollars, our reputation, our ingenuity, our creativity, our lives. The Iranians, they also launched, they got a jet up off the ground. I haven't looked into, I just heard that they did, and that the first air-to-air kill ever, F-35, took this jet out. I don't know what it was. If anybody knows what kind of jet the Iranians got into the air. I mean, this is so sad. This is so pathetic. And I want you all to recall, we're going to go into the quick news and laughs. Hopefully there's some laughs in there. Recall all of the taboo grifters who for years now, have told us how nigh omnipotent Iran is. They've waxed at length about all of the soldiers, all of the elites soldiers, all of the tanks, all the artillery, all of the air power, all of the missile power, all on and on and on. They've gone on for, and they have said and built the size of their audience, increased the amount of wealth pouring into themselves, massively increased the amount of aggrandizement for themselves. So many of these taboo grifters talking about how if you engage Hamas or you engage Hezbollah, first of all, we're white. We shouldn't even be thinking about this shit. It sounds like what you yell when you're taking a giant dump. Like you have been constipated for months and now it's hitting you. And that's what comes out of your mouth. Hezbollah. I mean, that's what comes. We shouldn't even know what this is. But they've come to you and they said, oh, you touch them and you touch them. And then what's going to happen is Iran's going to get involved. And then they're going to launch 10,000 missiles at once. And they're going to blot out the sky with their missiles. And their drones are going to, and they all talking like they had some deep they didn't know shit. They were spinning fantasies for imbeciles. And I mean, imbeciles that all the way guys who are putting tires on cars for a living, all the way up to guys who own businesses that are writing checks. Let me give him another 10 grand. Let me give him another 50 grand. Let me give him another 75 grand. people writing checks, and these people keep spinning these yarns. Iran was a paper tiger. After all of these decades of the sanctions and everything that you have no idea about the United States being up to, infrastructure attacks, the attacks on their industry, all of this stuff going on that you can't even, cyber attacks, you have no idea what it all is. Things you can't even, and you don't know what you don't know when it comes to this. Iran is this shell. And it was like I told you, every time it comes to the Middle East, for some reason, they've got this real braggadocious way. And I've made the joke so many times that they could be talking about parking tickets. A politician in the Middle East can be talking about parking tickets, and he'll step up to the lectern and say, the streets will flow with the blood of the enemy. That's how they talk. So when they get out there and they say, I mean, talk about, you can imagine if they're talking about what kind of lovers they are, what kind of stories you would hear then. But this is how they exaggerate. The hyperbole knows no bounds. The histrionics knows no bounds. They are the champions of histrionics. Par excellence, no comparison whatsoever. So when Iran would come out and they would say, the world will bleed red and we will darken the seas and the skies. That's just how they talk. They didn't have the ability to do any of that shit. But so many people ended up following the taboo grifters out there of various stripes because they spun these really mysterious yarns about World War III unfolding, like one of them Chinese paper things or Japanese paper things. And all of a sudden, it's like somehow America is defeated and we're all dead. How did we even get to that point? But bequeathing all of this power to all of these different proxies around the world so that this band of people riding camels can suddenly take on the B-2 bombers. It's just such a joke. How do you ever listen to these? But you know, the thing that is so infuriating is that all these taboo grifters, they're having their biggest numbers yet, their biggest audiences yet. It doesn't matter how many times they're wrong. They'll claim to be right. Once again, even though you've got years of them making all of these predictions and all of these claims, and nobody turns away from it because it's a good story. That's all they got is a good story. Another good story, another good yarn, another good angle to talk about and debate. I'm sick of it. Israeli Defense Forces said on Wednesday that it has bombed a major military complex in Tehran that served as the headquarters for the entire Iranian security apparatus. According to the IDF, the complex housed bases for the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the Quds Force, whatever. So you know who Iran, even though they're an absolute paper tiger full of shit, who they would have been a problem for is Israel on its own. Israel would not have been able to wage war on Iran by itself. Iran would have been able to inflict enough injury to make a war between Israel and Iran too much for Israel. That's why they had to force us by way of influencing our politicians. That's why they had to force us to do their bidding. It's nowhere close comparison. And by the way, all of the talks about, well, remember all the taboo grifters, how many times they said, oh, well, you touch Iran and Russia and China are immediately coming in. They're immediately joining the conflict against the weak United States. Yeah, I guess you get to see. I told you all along. I've been telling you all for online here for 10 fucking years. There's no fucking with the United States. No fucking with the United States military. Not Russia, not China, nothing. The U.S. can inflict ungodly injury on opposition. So They were all wrong. And we can remedy this by becoming a people. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and become a people. Let's start our quick news and laughs here, shall we?
Now feel around. Move around a little bit.
Whoa!
No, what?
Scary.
No, it's not scary. Feel around. Touch it. It won't move.
I don't want to. It's not scary.
It's not scary. Just touch it. Just move around. Put your hands
I
in.
did touch it.
Huh?
I did.
What do you think it is?
I don't know.
What did it feel like?
I think it's a hand.
What is it?
They'll show the little girl what it is. She got it right.
You were right. Feel around. Move around a little bit.
Whoa!
Oh my God, that's
No,
funny
what?
as hell.
Scary.
Hey, give it up for Stop at the Vita Zone. Big salute, Stop at the Vita Zone. Look at this. Democrat Representative Maxine Dexter says putting, quote, white milk in schools is white supremacy. Quote, ask the science-based regiments, not whole milk white supremacy dog whistling. This white female here, this is the kind of idiocy you get out of anti-whites. It's a religion. I tell you what, folks, this new Viagra, I don't know about it. Oh my God. It's working even while he sleeps. Oh no, it's a dog. Oh God, I wish I would have known. Tucker reports that Mossad agents have been captured in multiple Gulf nations planning bombings.
Now, that wasn't a risk from the Israeli standpoint. That was the point. That was the point. They wanted to diminish the Gulf, and in 2 days they have. And I think anyone who likes decency and order and cleanliness is hoping that the Gulf will recover. The Gulf is not a threat to us. We have military bases in these countries. These are some of our closest allies. All of them are closer allies than Israel, by far. They're our friends, but they've been really hurt. And in a place like Dubai, which is basically part of a country, it's an emirate within the United Arab Emirates, but it's also a luxury brand, basically. People go to Dubai because it's beautiful and rich and clean, and above all, because it's safe and orderly. It's got the busiest airport in the world. You start seeing video on Instagram of smoke in the Dubai airport, and you're like, I think I'm going to Cabo this year. Oh, sorry, drug cartels. Whatever. Maybe you go to Sedona this year. It really, really hurts these countries. And Israel wanted to hurt these countries. That's the point. Wanted to hurt these countries. Wanted to sow chaos and disorder because they are rivals of Israel. So it's probably not, hasn't been reported, but it's a fact that last night in Qatar and Saudi Arabia, authorities arrested Mossad agents planning on committing bombings in those countries. Now, that's weird. That doesn't make any sense. Why would the Israelis be committing bombings in two Gulf countries, which are also being attacked by Iran? Aren't they on the same side? No. Israel wants to hurt Iran and Qatar and UAE and Saudi and Bahrain and Oman and Kuwait. And they've succeeded.
Yeah, I'm inclined to think that is absolutely true. This woman's headlining the news because she is saying she's starving. She's starving. Look at her.
It's really bad. Danielle Grant is starving.
I'm practically emaciated. Look at me. Where am I going to eat? I won't get a meal today. I'm practically emaciated. I'll be dead tomorrow's.
Here you go. I'm trying to see if I can get some food because we literally don't have anything to eat today.
I don't need to eat today. She's on the verge of eating that reporter.
Tomorrow, so we're gonna try to make it.
She's gonna try to make it. I hope you can. I think you put on enough to be able to survive a few winters. I think you're going to be all right at that size.
We can.
Desperate for food, nowhere to go.
Desperate for food. Man, we're just starving them. We just, look at this thing. We're just starving them to death. You can tell by looking at that moon face right there. Man. Meeting his 40 virgins didn't go as he planned. Oh, man. He doesn't look happy with that. He doesn't look happy with those 40. Give me another 40. What do I do? Can I send this 40 back? I need a new 40. Now, this will make you feel good. This dog, blind dog, finding a water puddle. Oh, look at how happy he is. Look at that dog. That is what felicity looks like. I love it. Louisiana, man, and this from last year, I think the women are going to they're going for the gold. They're going for the Guinness Book of raping children in 26. Last year, they beat their old record and they set a record. This year, they're planning on beating that record again. Women empowerment, female empowerment, going really well. I don't know how many people saw child rape being one of the number one results of female empowerment, but here you have it. 43-year-old Misty Roberts is currently on trial for third-degree rape. After finding out about the alleged assault, the mother of the victim texted the then mayor. This woman was the mayor, to make sure she wasn't pregnant. Roberts took a screenshot of the message and shared it in a chat with friends before ordering Plan B from DoorDash. The son of Roberts explained to investigators that he saw his mother raping his friend before he changed his story. Roberts' ex-husband recently testified that she told him directly that she had sex with the teen, raped the teen. The victim's friend said Roberts' daughter told a group of teens that night she saw her mom and the minor making out by the pool. He said he later saw Roberts and the boy having sex. I mean, what is wrong? Look at this. Look at this woman. Why in God? What is wrong with women? You're empowered now, well beyond what nature gave you, well beyond anything that would be balanced in Western civilization, well beyond. And it becomes child rape at extraordinary numbers. This isn't some like meth addict. She's like, I'm the mayor up in here, damn it. Somebody get me some white teen pretty boys. Get me some white teen pretty boys in here that I can rape up in this mayoral house. That's what females have turned into. Everywhere we turn. And the majority of these females raping that we see in the news, raping children, are white females. What in the fuck is going on? Well, I told you they're going for the record, right? Married high school gym teacher had been awarded Teacher of the Year while she was having sex, in other words, raping one of her students as well. So there you have another story unfolding. They're going for the record this year, folks. Here's Netanyahu. This is a great example. This is an older video. A great example of how any argument to serve the well-being of your people. Who's the problem for the well-being of Jewish people? Well, it is Arabs. It's not actually white people. It's Arabs. So Netanyahu decides to make the argument that it wasn't Hitler that was the bad guy. It was this Muslim cleric that told him to kill all the Jews.
Hitler didn't want to exterminate the Jews at the time. He wanted to expel the Jews. And Haj Amin al-Husseini went to Hitler and said, if you expel them, they'll all come here. So what should I do with them? He asked. He said, burn them.
That's his quote. Now, he later said, after other Jews got upset with that because of the importance of Hitler to their people's narrative, he said, oh, well, I'm not absolving Hitler of his responsibility. I'm just pointing out that the Muslims, the Arabs, are tantamount. They are the ones that wanted it to happen. This is the guy, you probably heard about the stabbing on the Beltway around Washington, D.C., here in Northern Virginia. This non-white guy here, he is a State Department Foreign Service officer. So some white guy didn't get his job so that this prick could have it. And he got into an auto accident on 495, the National Beltway, got out of the car and stabbed 3 women, one of them to death, and stabbed their dog to death before Virginia State troopers showed up and shot this POS dead. So there he is. These are all content creators, all conservative content creators. And this person wrote here, quote, honey, bring our mulatto grandkids in here. That Yahoo is on Hannity. Oh, this is so perfect for the cucks, for those white cuck losers out there. Bring our mulatto grandkids in here. Our God and Savior, Netanyahu. Satan Yahu's on Hannity. I want to show them all our Lord and Savior, Satan Yahoo. I want all these mulatto grandkids on my lap. Fuck you all, you goddamn scum. These white scum. Well, what did Netanyahu? See, these people are no allies of ours. These people will side with Israel against the white race. This is what he was saying. Let's listen to the devil. Devil's on the spot. Now, remember, he's on Hannity, so he knows he's speaking to an audience of cucks. So these people are all sitting in their cuck chair in the corner of the room, and he knows how he has to talk to them to have his way with them.
The reason that we had to act now is because they were, after we hit their nuclear sites and their ballistic missiles program, you'd think they learned a lesson, but they didn't because they're unreformable.
You think they would learn a lesson? You think they would learn a lesson, but they didn't because they're unreformed. No, it's more like it was incremental manipulation of the American government. That's what it's more like.
Totally fanatic about this,
They're totally fanatic about this. They were building the Death Star. Every cuck sitting in the cuck chair, they were building a Death Star. And you know, all of these cucks, they would come right out of their cuck chairs. Oh my God. They were building a Death Star. Did you hear that, Martha? Get our mulatto grandchildren. We're going to get in the basement. I heard them Iranians. We're going to build a Death Star.
goal of destroying America. So they started building new sites, new places.
So they started building new places. Now, remember, Trump told everybody, we bomb these programs into oblivion. Years and years it's going to be. Years. You don't build like centrifuges overnight, right? You know that, right? That's not like a butter churn. So they start since June.
Underground bunkers that would make their ballistic missile program and their atomic bomb program immune within months.
Immune, except for they were already immune, except from American weapons. There is no deeper. They can't go deeper. Why do people think in Hollywood physics? Like, well, then my Rainies, they would just dig down to the center of the earth. They'll use the earth's core and they'll power their generators from the earth. Shut the fuck up. They can only get one plane off of a runway, which is immediately shot down. These people aren't digging anywhere. With what? Shovels?
If no action was taken now, no action could be taken in the future. And then
No action. All of your mulatto grandchildren would be dead. All of them. They would specifically target the mulatto grandchildren in America. They would use hydrogen bombs that they would invent, probably weeks away, maybe hours away from hydrogen power, and they would destroy all the mulattoes.
they could target America. They could blackmail America. They could
target America and blackmail America. Of course, we all know here, there's no issue there if there isn't subservience for Israel. There's no issue there whatsoever.
threaten us and threaten everyone in between.
So the whole time he's talking about, that's the only time he refers to Israel. It's all about, he's making this argument to these brain dead, pork rind eating, fluff eating, inbred looking, and mulatto grandchildren having white losers, that this was all about defending America, and maybe even Israel would get hurt by this. And he knows that they'll buy it.
So action had to be taken, and you needed a resolute president like Donald J. Trump to take that action.
Otherwise, the Death Star would be built, and they would destroy all your mulatto grandchildren. They probably will target your mulatto grandchildren and your diabetes medication. And that cream you use on that awful rash that keeps coming back. So we had to kill every one of them. Did you hear how he totally crafted? All the words were small. He knew who he was talking to. There are other videos of him when he's talking to this dumb white American population. He literally says good guys, bad guys, because that's how dumb he needs them to understand. Take a look at this white guy. He's sleeping. He hears something going on in his garage. He comes running out. And then these two burglars are there. He decides to fight them. Get it, buddy, get it. Look, he's beating this one. Can't even. He grabs a skateboard to try to hit him. Hits him with a skateboard. He gets back up. He's like, let's go. The only thing for me that would make this more glorious, if it were me, is that I would be naked. And that would be so magnificent. I would immediately post that. And if for some reason I wasn't naked, I would take my clothes off on the way to beat the piss out of these two losers. But the best part is coming. He drags one of them back in to keep beating on him. Look, he gets a hold of this one. He's like, nope, you're not going anywhere. I'm going to bring you in here, and I'm going to keep beating on you. He's like, there you go, buddy. Best part's coming, though. Watch. He's trying to open the door. Watch this. Watch what he does. It's coming. He's beating on this one, and he's like, hold on, I'm not going to be able to beat him up very good if the other one gets in here. Let me lock that door. Watch the handle. Look at the handle. His buddy can't come to help. Very white of you, my friend. This is the American embassy in Pakistan. A bunch of civilians got together and decided to go kill everybody in the embassy. They had nowhere to go, and so the Marines returned fire. Oh, if I could only be the commander there, I would take all of my Marines and I would follow these losers out. I would kill everyone in the town. And then I would say, I'd radio back, all clear and safe now. Take a look at this. This is Netanyahu's son here. And while 6 Americans are confirmed dead, this clown is in Miami sunning himself. That's where he lives. And I want you to, you might not, it's probably a good thing you can't see. But Netanyahu's son here has some pretty puffy nipples. And if you know anything, they're really good for breastfeeding. So I imagine he's going to be one hell of a father. If you didn't know, the United States is also participating and it might be only with intelligence. I couldn't find out, maybe if you all know, what all is, if there are actual soldiers on the ground. But they are in Ecuador, the United States, right now, maybe with just, like I say, intel. And the Ecuadorian government is commencing a war. They're calling it a war against the drug cartels that the United States classified as terrorist entities. So that's happening at the same time. Take a look at this Boy Scout troop in Texas. You know, it's a Boy Scouts. You know, I don't even know what factions of the Boy Scouts are left, right? But this is a troop here, and maybe they're not the same as the Boy Scouts from before, but it's a wonderful thing. It's so American, isn't it? Boy Scouts, Texas, right? You know, Texas Boy Scouts. Take a look at this picture. Oops. They're 100% Indian. Not a single white person. Not a single white young man. Yep, we better get out. I guess blaming everything on the Jews and hating the Jews or hating the blacks and now hating the Indians. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for some reason. I mean, look at that. All right, this is some really nasty stuff. This is a commercial for a product that is a stool that you put in front of your toilet. So a stool in front of a stool, and you're supposed to put your feet on it, and it's supposed to help you go to the bathroom better. And these guys who invented the stool in front of the stool made this commercial where a unicorn is using the stool, and the unicorn defecates rainbows into ice cream that children eat. Wouldn't you know it? This guy ends up being a child predator.
The creamy poop of a mystic unicorn. Totally clean, totally cool, and soft served straight from a sphincter.
Ends up being a convicted of child porn over a period of several years. I think we know what to do. Did somebody say wood chipper? What a surprise, though, right? This is going to infuriate you. This is a, not this guy on the screen. This is a black TikToker that posted himself in front of a bathroom, a guy's bathroom, and said no white guys are allowed to use the bathroom. Ends up referring to one of the white guys who just stands there waiting to be allowed to go to the bathroom, calling him a boy.
Hey guys, I would appreciate if, anyway, I'd appreciate
You Caucasian too? You're Caucasian? This is a black only bathroom. So you gotta find, you Caucasian? You Caucasian too? The black only bathroom.
And while he's standing there, he allows an Asian to go into the bathroom. So it's not black only, it's no whites.
Excuse me, man. Black
only. You can hear.
Boy, can you hear?
What are you talking about, dog?
Boy, this is a black only bathroom, boy.
Where you from?
I'm from the south side of Chicago.
This idiot just stands there saying, like, where are you from? Why are you doing this? I would have given these guys a great video, because I would have ended this motherfucker right here. Not going to let me go to a bathroom in a building built by white men. Take a look at this white epicness. Isn't that awesome? Stay tuned, because in a few minutes, we're going to be listening to some rockin' music. And right after that, we're going to be bringing on Grace to talk about the hordes of refugees that are going to be making their way to the United States from Iran. Totally white man thing. Check this out, white guys. You're all going to feel the white man energy just pulsing inside of you. Yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. Of course, white guys going to put spikes on motorcycle wheels so that we can ride a crotch rocket on ice and snow. Totally epic. Now, here's something you got to listen to.
How you keep anything alive. Anything you want to keep alive, it's so simple. You talk about it. Anything you want to keep alive, you talk about it. That's it. It's that simple. And you never stop talking about it. And the minute you stop talking about it, that's when it dies.
How many times? This man is right. We need to be talking about us, talking about white well-being, talking about our victimization endlessly, because the moment you stop talking about it, it dies. Never forget what that guy just said. And finally, we have this: how it feels to make a post about Alberta independence and watch the Americans show up to fight the anti-whites in the comments. Yeah, baby. Here we come. Let's rock.
I walk this road with my head held high. No shame, no guilt, I'm not living a lie. I know my roots and where I belong. I'm proud to be a white man standing strong. They try to tell me I should hide my pride, but I feel the freedom I won't be denied. No chains can't hold me, no lies can break. I've got the power, it's mine to take. Feel the fire in my soul tonight. I'm proud of who I am, and I'll stand and fight. No chains can hold me, no lies can break. I've got the power, it's mine to take. Feel the fire in my soul tonight. I'm proud of who I am, and I'll stand and fight. I'm proud to be a white man, it's great to feel free. Ain't no one taking that away from me. I've got my roots, I've got my pride. I'll walk this path with my heart open wide. Proud to be a white man, strong and true. I'm living my life the way I choose. They try to paint us like we don't belong, but this land's in my blood, it's been all along. From the fields to the mountains, across the sea, our story is alive and we're meant to be free. Don't let them tell you how to live your life. Stand up with pride and cut through the strife. I won't back down, won't fade away. I'm proud of who I am every day. Feel the strength inside your heart. We've been free right from the start. I'm proud to be a white man, it's great to feel free. Ain't no one taking that away from me. I've got my roots, I've got my pride. I'll walk this path with my heart open wide. Proud to be a white man, strong and true. I'm living my life the way I choose. Will fade away. I'm proud of who I am every day. Feel the strength inside your heart. We've been free right from the start. I've been through the highs and I've seen the lows, but through it all, my pride still grows. I won't be silent, I won't be erased. I'll keep standing no matter what I face. I'm proud to be a white man, it's great to feel free. Ain't no one taking that away from me. I've got my roots, I've got my...
Give it up for Anglo-Saxon NWG, ladies and gentlemen. What an epic tune. And without further ado, I bring to you Grace, who is joining us on the screen. Grace, can you hear me okay?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
Yep. So we have this impending, we know, tidal wave coming from the Middle East of refugees. And this happens every single time we get used for a conflict. And here we have it again. And no doubt there are going to be all of these deserving and Iranian people that should come to the United States immediately. And of course, the anti-whites in the United States, they're going to be fully behind this. They're going to be very excited about that. And they're going to be facilitating it. Well, where is this going to be taking place? There are mechanisms for that. And we'd like for you to get into that for us today.
So I think the important thing to start out with is to maybe look at the Office of Refugee Resettlement, or ORR, which is the office that brings in all the refugees every year. And I think that we can kind of take a look at what's been going on and kind of then get a big picture for what could possibly happen. So right now we're standing at $22.6 billion with a B that the taxpayers spent at the fiscal year of 23 to 24, which is the last fiscal year that we have complete stats for. And that is money from our taxes going to the Office of Refugee Resettlement, which then goes right into the hands of the various refugees. And I think that it's important to realize that the Office of Refugee Resettlement doesn't have a lot of regulations. So they have 34 different, STEM offices that stem from the original ORR in over 24 states. So any of those states is where the refugees will be shuffled into. And then once they get to that state, they will literally instantly be eligible for an amazing amount of money and services that come directly from you and I. And I think that we could kind of start out with here just the general look at where they come from and what the office has to say about it. So let me pull up, here it is.
So let me just say while you're looking at that, 23 billion.
Yes, sir.
That is, folks, really appreciate that number, because that's ungodly. And remember what we point out here all the time, the truth of it when it comes to these dollars is that those dollars are our life, our work, our time that we could be spending with family. That is our infrastructure. That is our water works. That is our electric works. That is everything that sustains us, all being fleeced from us for this Office of Refugee Resettlement, which is, like I said, preparing for an absolute glut of Iranians, especially, and let me just point and connected to what I was saying earlier. If Israel continues destabilizing by killing every new crop of leadership for the current security state of Iran, then that means there'll be even more people that'll have to come to the United States, and that the anti-whites will throw the doors open. And how is Trump going to go to all of his white cuck constituency out there with their mulatto grandkids and saying, well, no, they have to be denied after we totally obliterated their country? We're not going to let them in now, even though it's completely unstable, and the anti-whites are endlessly showing news of all of these good Iranians being butchered in the streets by the animals and savages and etc. So we're looking at already 23 billion for the last fiscal year of 23 to 24, $23 billion. And these people are going to be pouring in to the United States, beginning in what you said, 24 different states, Grace?
Yes, sir. 24 different
and then
states.
fanning out from there, but continue from there. That's what more of what we have to look forward to as a consequence of the fallout of this conflict.
Absolutely. And I think that the significance of the 22 billion is that's what we're spending during non-war times, when we're not bringing over what would be considered special category refugees, because there's people don't always realize this, but there's a litany of categories that refugees can fall into. It's not just like you take a refugee, they take a refugee and then they categorize that refugee, because that allows them to then bring over more, because they're allowed so many spots in various categories. However, during special situations like times of conflict or war, the details and the specifics get very gray and fuzzy, and they can bend things as they need to service these what they call focused populations. And that would be the population that we're focused on right now, because they have some sort of need about them. And so if you get on the government website that will show you what the Office for Refugees does, it will tell you that after the final screenings by the US government, and let me remind you, the screenings consist of taking these people at their word, because there aren't like it's not like here where there's a central office that would have a birth certificate or a social security card or something of that nature for these people. They literally get to walk into an embassy or walk up to a program office or some sort of makeshift thing that's put together that's going on right now in a conflict area. And they get to walk up there and basically say who they are and how old they are and what their life story is. And we have no choice but to take them at their word, because if we refuse, then we're not taking in the refugees. We're not doing our quote unquote diligence. We're not doing the job that we started out to do. And therefore we take them at their word. We don't require paperwork. We say we require screening, but how can you screen someone that has no papers? And
yeah, let me jump in because it's such a great point. We can already hear the arguments being made by Republican cucks in their positions, respective positions, who will be arguing, we don't know who they are. And so shouldn't we put the brakes on a little bit? Shouldn't we? And those arguments always fail. In the past, they've always failed. So we can go ahead and prognosticate that in the very near future, we'll be hearing those kind of arguments from Republican politicians who will come out and try to make an appeal to their base, to their voters, and say, well, we need to properly vet. And then the opposition's argument will be, well, they can't be properly vetted because you destroyed their country. And so all we can do now is maybe look at their footprint online, whatever that's going to be, it's going to be non-existent. And just like you said, so we're going to have people pouring into the country that we're going to have to take on their word for their age. How many times do we see, especially in Europe, where these anti-white, non-whites come in and they say, oh yeah, I'm 14. Just go ahead and stick me in the junior high school or high school. And they end up being 24 and all of this kind of garbage. How many people come in and say, oh, I've never been arrested, never been had a mental issue. And they come in and immediately begin killing and assaulting. And who are they going to be killing and assaulting? It's going to be white people. It's not going to be Israelis. It's going to be white people are going to be attacked, raped, maimed, murdered as a consequence of this influx of people pouring into the country. And you can point all of the blame at Israel for the war itself, and Israel now for continuing to kill the leadership that the Trump regime has to speak to try to create some sort of order in Iran. But you're absolutely right about this. The vetting is not going to be possible. It's not like in a Western country, and there's nothing left there anyhow. But go ahead, pick it up from there.
Exactly. So then after they've accepted them, which they will, because there's no reason for them not to, because of course they're going to check all the boxes. And I think it's important to add here that it is very often seen in situations like this that there are representatives from NGOs that are at these different checkpoints and embassies. We've actually heard about it in the office that I work for by someone who was there, not during this conflict, a different conflict. But anyhow, he said that literally people sit on the steps of the embassy and sell fraudulent paperwork to these people as they're going up into the embassy, and then they get in there and they hand it to the workers, and the workers have no option but to take that paperwork, knowing the person just bought that birth certificate right there on the steps. And that's what we're dealing with here. And those are the people that are going to come over. And it says here on the website that what the office will do is they will prepare to pick the screened refugee up at the airport, and they will get together. But before they get there, and this is actually what it says here, it says, before the arrival of the refugees, the resettlement agencies will arrange for their housing, which will include basic furniture, appliances, climate appropriate clothing, and the food typical of the refugees' culture. Now, I'm just going to throw out there that there is no office that you or I or anyone in your chat could go to right now where the government would take your word on who you are and would go out and secure you housing. And sometimes we're talking really nice housing here. We're not talking like the Motel 6. We're talking like if they're putting them in a hotel, it's a nice hotel. But more often than not, they are placing them in suburban areas, in nice apartments or townhouses, sometimes even actually single family homes. Depending on how many people are in their family, these people can actually touch ground here in the United States with a home literally ready for them, with food in the fridge, clothes in the closet, furniture, and everything else taken care of. So that's really nice of us. Good for us being so welcoming. And
Yeah,
it's
I mean, once again, if I could jump in real quick, once again, we are being victimized, we are being exploited. All of this is at our expense, not just what's taking place in Iran right now, in the Middle East, but all of the echoes and ramifications of this that'll go on for some time. We're talking about the crimes, but we're also talking about if they're coming over and they're taking housing. What does that do to housing costs? What does that do to the neighborhoods that these people are placed in? And you have these NGOs you're talking about providing this cottage industry of fraudulent paperwork to satisfy these lax requirements for documentation. They just hand over to them. But your point is really powerful because we can't go into an office in the United States, a governmental office, and say, not going to provide you any identification, but this is who I am. Here's my age. Here's my name. I say that my history is sterling. And where's my automobile or otherwise ability to get around town? Where's my home? Where is my food? Where is all my brand new clothing? We can't get any of that from our own government, but these people will be getting it. And I bet maybe maybe you could share and then you can get back on track. I don't want to take you off track. But these people are obviously going to need, not only are they going to get access, of course, to funds for living, funds for food, funds for our dollars, even for entertainment, cell phones. And we saw all of this go on in Minnesota, so much of it being revealed. These people, they have access to everything a person could need to live without having to do anything. They just get to be an agent of white erasure, and they're paid to live and be able to do that and to produce more agents of white erasure. So yeah, you could jump back on track now, but your point is really powerful, that here they come and they're going to also have somehow assisted by way of the government for those who want to get into schooling or want to get work. They're going to be able to get access to all of those things. And what does that do to the job market? What does that do, et cetera? So the ramifications of this continue throughout our lives as a consequence of Israel getting its way because we don't have a people. Pass it back to you.
100%. And I apologize for the background noise. I was at the gym, so I ran out here because I knew I was going to do this tonight, but I wasn't sure when. So I ran out here when you said you were ready. So I'm sitting in my car, so I apologize for any background noise. But yeah, so after they get here, the agencies will, it says, help them start their new lives in the U.S. They will assist them with applying for a Social Security card. They'll assist them with registering children in school. And think about that, a Social Security card. They're not residents yet, okay, but we're giving it to them anyway. And we're giving it to them on, again, as you said, on their word. Just, I can't walk into the Social Security office and say, this is who I am, and I'd like a Social Security card, please. No, they will make you find your identification. And if you can't find it, if you can't prove who you are, you're not getting it. And that's not true for these people. And it says this. I'm reading from a government website, and this is what it says. This is what they do. So they're allowed to go in and get help with applying for a Social Security card. And also, if they think that there might be disabilities of some sort, the case manager will kind of navigate that for them as well and try to help them get disabilities. And we're not even going to go into how difficult it is for a US citizen to try to get disability, even when they have a legitimate disability. It takes years and sometimes a lawyer to help people actually get what they're owed, even for people that have worked in the system and paid into the system for a very long time. The system doesn't want to pay them back. But these people show up, and the very next day, a case manager will pick them up at their new home and take them to the Social Security office, where they're helped to navigate the complexities of the disability system and the Social Security card, obtaining that as well. So then it says that after they do that, they will then be allowed to get apply for things such as spending money to help migrants. And these are the personal improvement grants. And that is used for a car for them or a home purchase. And it says, while others will give out business and personal loans. Now, just let's just unpack that for a minute. Again, these are people that just got here. We don't know who they are. They've never paid into our tax system. And now we are literally about to fund them personal loans and business loans with an asterisk, because a lot of times they are not required to pay these loans back. There's a lot of forgiveness. Actually, you could really call it grants. A lot of times what they're getting is grants. So they're getting grants for cars. They're getting grants that can be used for houses and so forth. And it's really quite frustrating, because when you really think about it, that just devastates Americans, because how many people in the millennial generation will never own a home? You know, a lot of them won't. How many people are struggling to even own a car and make, you know, the payments on it? And yet here these people come, and we're not talking about them getting a car and then working and making payments. We are talking about them getting the money to literally buy a vehicle, like something they don't owe anything else on. They can just drive it off the lot, and it's the compliments of us. And it says that they particularly focus in on what they call special populations, which are populations that they think have physical or psychological disabilities, women who are at risk. And I don't know what that means exactly, at risk. That's kind of vague. And then this, though, is the most interesting and kind of, to me, the most infuriating category, because it is young adults without parents or guardians. Okay, well, if you're a young adult, you don't need a parent or guardian. You're not a child, but that makes them a preferred population here under this settlement. So we're talking, 20-year-olds that we bring over, and then suddenly the Office of Refugee Resettlement is eager and falling all over themselves to make sure that they get these grants and these car loans and these home loans. Again, these are young people in their 20s, and we're buying them houses simply because they're coming over here from a different country. The insanity, I mean, it just doesn't make sense at all. But yeah, they call them targeted populations. Another one of the targeted populations are the elderly refugees. And it says, or those without family support. So you can be elderly or without family support. So if you come over here, even as like an older adult, if you're without family support, they consider that to be a special case. So again, then you're given like special rights, expediency in the processing of your papers. I can't tell you how many people my office is tasked with helping actual American citizens, with helping getting things owed to them, like care from the VA. And it can literally take us years to get what is owed to these people. Soldiers who fought on battlefields and came home wounded. Sometimes we have to go to bat for these people and help them get what they need from the VA. While these people are coming over and getting new cars. No questions asked. I mean, it's beyond infuriating, when you really dig into it.
Wow. Yeah. And it's remarkable how they establish all of these special rubrics, all these special categories, adult, young adult, unaccompanied. And so there you get to check that off. Senior, unaccompanied, or with and then you get to get that check. And it's like all of these little categories that they've created to fit these agents of white erasure into. And then it's a perfect juxtaposition that you demonstrate with when it comes to American, when it comes to veterans, when it comes to, and these people have to try for years and they go grinding through the machinery of the state through. And what's the reason for that? Well, it's because of the white erasure. It's because of the anti-whiteism. It's because people don't want to help. Certainly white Americans, certainly white males. Some guy comes back from war. They hate them more than anything imaginable. They were out there killing some special non-white person, and so they deserve that much more ire. So yeah, getting their treatments and getting their payments and everything, always going to be super problematic. But the doors are thrown wide open, and you can see with what little of a critical eye, in other words, no critical eye whatsoever, that is given to the disbursements of these funds, because that's how you have billions in one freaking town being stolen by just several groups of folks up in these states like Minnesota and elsewhere. And because they're looking the other way, because the social morality is anti-whiteism. These people are non-white. It's just no holds barred. They get anything and everything they want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I do think it's interesting that the ORR does say on their website that the existence of their office is to provide crucial services for refugee, asylees, and other humanitarian arrivals to achieve economic self-sufficiency and social integration. Economic self-sufficiency? I mean, people of my generation, my peers, they don't have economic self-sufficiency. And most of us work every day, 9 to 5, and we don't all have economic self-sufficiency. And yet we're bringing these folks over and we're making sure that they have economic self-sufficiency. That's insane. But that's what we're doing. And we're doing it on the taxpayer dollar. And it says their mission is to promote the health, well-being, and stability of these people. So in other words, least we forget, they are also getting health care, which again, a lot of us don't get, right? If you have a job and you can't afford to pay for your health care, they take a big chunk out of your paycheck for your health care, and then you go to use your insurance and you have to pay something crazy like a $5,000 deductible just to go see a doctor. That's insane. And it doesn't happen for these people. These people in their new homes, driving their new cars with their business loans, getting their financial, independence. God forbid, they should be denied financial independence, and they get to go see their doctors while we literally struggle and put off and try to find other ways to self-medicate or what have you, because a lot of us can't even afford doctors. I mean, it's just so angering, and we see it happen over and over again. And the one last thing that I really kind of wanted to cover here was a special category that they really dig in deep for, and it's called victims of torture. And the reason that is such an ambiguous category is that it's first of all, they don't require proof that a victim was a victim of torture, and secondly, it can be both physical and or psychological torture. So what a lot of these like the NGOs will tell the people applying for refugee status is to say that they are a victim of torture. And if they don't go with the physical route, they can literally claim they're a victim of psychological torture for as silly as like kissing somebody in a park or confessing to having feelings for the same sex, things like that. And then in that country, because that's frowned down upon, that's considered then psychological torture. And then they become not only eligible to be a refugee, but a special category refugee, which entitles them to considerably more handouts, as well as like cash in their pocket and an additional 5 years to pay back their travel loans. So when a refugee arrives, they're supposed to pay back the loan that got them here, which is their plane ticket and their family's plane tickets for all 17 of their children or whatever. They have 5 years to do it, even though a lot of times they do apply for extensions and they get it. But the special category, the victims of torture, have 10 years to pay back the travel loan, interest-free, by the way.
Wow.
The loan does not accrue interest. And they get significant other handouts. We're talking like literally money in their pocket for being a victim of torture. They also get special case management and, like they call them, psychological healing centers that we have all over the United States just for these refugee victims of torture. You and I can't go to these centers, but they have all these various like things that you can do, like yoga and walks on the beach and like literally like massage therapy, like all these therapies to help get these people mentally healthy, which also then allows them to put off having to get a job because they're being treated for their horrendous torture that they supposedly endured, that we have no way to, to make that valid. We don't know. We don't know if that's what if they went through, and it doesn't matter because they don't have to prove it. They just have to say it happened, and we go ahead and take them on their word. And after they've been here for not very long, usually it's 24 months, depending on the category they fall into. But most of the time, within 24 months after they've obtained a Social Security card, they can then come to a congressman's office and ask for applications to sponsor family members. So you thought maybe we just brought over this initial family that came over, with a wife, husband, kids, whatever. No, within 2 years, they can actually go to their local congressional office and get applications and apply to bring their parents over, their aunts and uncles over. I mean, there really is no limit to the number of applications they can take out to sponsor. Now, people on the other side who are anti-white will tell you, oh, well, all those applications aren't going to get approved. Okay, some of them might not. I'll be honest, some of them don't, but a lot of them do. And it's a pretty high chance that they will get approved. And then you've got even more people coming over. And once those people get here, like if it's their brother, let's say, and he's sponsored and comes over with his wife and children because they're allowed to bring dependents. So then let's say they get here. Well, then like the wife, then within a couple of years, the wife of the brother can then sponsor her parents to come, and then those parents can come and then sponsor the wife's siblings because those are their dependent, those are their children, even if they're adults, so they can come and do that. So it never stops. It literally never stops. They continue to bring more and more and more people over on the original idea that we're doing something quote unquote kind and bringing over these suffering refugees. And then it becomes we're bringing over half a small town in no time at all.
Well, it ends up being cities, and they end up white erasing our cities and populating them with themselves, as we see all across the West, United States, Europe, etc., happening everywhere. And it sounds to me like the more anti-white you are, the more claims you have that you are that much more of an anomaly from our civilization, and perhaps in some ways, really, it's our civilization, but in some ways maybe anomalous in their original civilization of origin, people of origin. You get more money, you get more grants, you get more time, you get more opportunities, and despite the fact that Grace does this for work, we got to say, because we're on YouTube, you got to go check this out for yourself. Make sure that it's all accurate. Everything that you're hearing here is accurate, because YouTube is, of course, staffed by anti-whites, and anti-white algorithms are running all the time. So check this stuff out for yourself. But I really got to point out, before I let you give your final thoughts, that here we have these people that are coming into our country. We can see right now streets in Washington, D.C., down in like Adams Morgan, this past couple of days over the weekend. You had thousands of Iranians that have been in the country for decades, and yet they're still out there with their Iranian flags. They're still out there with their people group. They're still out there with their identity that is set apart, that is different from us and America and etc. Of course, we know that you can't integrate in any real fundamental way. There is no real fundamental assimilation because that's biospiritual. But their loyalties are still as strong as ever, even after decades, or even if they're the children of those who came over. And so what's going to happen with all of these people that they'll be bringing in to white erase the country, more Democrat votes, of course, to bring in more, sponsoring their family members, getting business loans and grants and loans that are forgiven and loans that have 10 years to pay off for something that will eventually just be forgiven, or new legislation will whitewash it and they'll get rid of those loans and they'll use our tax dollars once again to fleece us even more. What happens the entire time that this is happening? As these folks, you look around the world, if you are unfortunate enough to be in an environment where they are moving these people, you see them very successful, the nicest houses in the nicest neighborhoods with the nicest vehicles and great vacations and dressed to the nines and the jewelry and all. And then people like Rand Paul come before you and they say, these people are achieving the American dream. Immigrants build the country. What's wrong with you, white man and white woman? Why aren't you working as hard as they can? And I always think, just a few years ago, that story of those, I think they were Turkish, and they owned like 3 or 4 mechanic shops for automobiles. And the Republicans were singing their paeans to the ceiling and the sky about how hardworking they are, how amazing they are. And they threw in there, they're this successful, even though they don't speak the language. There is no way that you can go into a country and have any success without speaking the language of the country, unless they're paying you to be able to do all of that. But I'll give it to you for your final thought. And thank you so much for coming on, Grace. We will definitely have to have you again real soon. But what are your final thoughts on all of this?
Well, thank you so much for having me. And I wanted to bring up, before I give my very final thoughts, I wanted to bring up that I ran across a tweet on Twitter. The information was from Judicial Watch, and it was from a FOIA receipt from Judicial Watch, where they had requested the Department of Homeless Services from New York City. They had requested receipts from last year, from their last fiscal year, wanting to know how much the department had spent on, and this is during a single week in 2024, for meals that were delivered to illegals housed at the Red Roof Inn, the Wingate by Wyndham, the Best Western Days Inn, the Super 8, the Wyndham Garden and the Courtyard and Fairfield hotels. So these are all in the New York City area. The Department of Homeless Services spent $583,000 running meals to these people, delivering meals, and then a Long Island City Food Service billed the department an additional $1,200,000. And again, this is for illegals. This is not refugees. So I realize I'm kind of mixing in a different group here, but it's sort of the same, because it's more money of ours. They're not delivering money to you and I, or they're not delivering meals to you and I, even though we're the ones paying this tax bill to the Department of Homeless Services in New York City. It's trickling down from our pockets. And this is a ludicrous amount of money where they're literally delivering. I guess they're paying for like DoorDash to be delivered to these people that we are already paying to live in hotels. Now we're paying for their meals to get delivered. And if you were interested in that tweet, you can research it. It is on the Judicial Watch website. I can also tweet it, and then you can take it and research it as you would like. Additionally, my other sources are from the ORR, or the Office of Resettlement Services, as well as the acf.gov website has some really good information on what happens when refugees come over and how that process works. Additionally, Open the Book taxdollars.org is a really great informational source for anyone looking to see how your tax dollars are actually spent and what the government does with them, where they come from, and where they end up. So those are all my sources, and I'm so grateful for you having me on, and I hope it was helpful. And, I hope people take this information and use it as a verbal arsenal in their ability to talk to people and have a conversation about why this is so detrimental to the white population here, why it's so anti-white, and why it's so harmful for literally everyone that lives here. This isn't good for anyone from any population.
Wow. 100%. 100%. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on. We'll definitely have you back on to share more of this. It's astonishing when you see the actual numbers and the actual programs. You read about these things, and it's a real eye opener. It's just a great way to observe the victimization of our people, and then to be able to share these things when we talk about it in our conversations. So Promethean hails to you. Thanks so much for coming on, Grace.
Thank you. Have a wonderful night.
All right. We'll be right back, folks.
Bye-bye.
What a absolute shocker that is. We need a palate cleanse with some music before we wrap it up here.
Baby, take my hand, let's go free. Build a world for our people, you and me. Across the West, they're searching for a cure. We found the way, steady and pure. Oh, it's love, it's hope, it's strength to be. A promise of tomorrow for you and me. Let's carry the light, let's make a stand. Baby, take my hand, let's go free. Through the trials they've tried to bring us low, but in our hearts the seeds of love will grow. With every step we're healing the past. For Western kind, a bond that'll last. Oh, it's love, it's hope, it's strength to be. A promise of tomorrow for you and me. Let's carry the light, let's make a stand. Baby, take my hand, let's go free. It's a song for the children, their laughter and play. A home for tomorrow, we're building today. Side by side, our voices will soar. Together we'll open a brand new door.
Absolutely great tune. I think it's by Raymond Foster, though. I think it is a Raymond Foster piece. Let's get our raucous emojis together for Dude Bro Moment. $50. He's not here yet, but he will be. Make it loud, make it raucous. Crowns and Gems 007's Dude Bro Moment, who will be writing for White Wellbeing. Give it up for Dude Bro Moment, ladies and gentlemen.
Baby, take my hand, let's go free. Baby, take my hand, let's go free. Build a world for our people, you and me.
What a beautiful piece of music, and great guest. Found out a lot about what's going on firsthand, seeing these programs and how we're fleeced and undermined, and then exactly the kind of arguments that will be made by both sides as we march along in time after, during, and after this conflict with Iran, and how it will get worse for us. As we are fleeced and victimized, all the more reason why we get that much more vigorous in our effort to become a people, so that we can put an end to all of this victimization, so that we can show up at the Sheehy's offices with 1,000 or 10,000 of us saying, no more victimizing our people. He would capitulate in a heartbeat, that I can promise you. Let's keep the celebrations going, ladies and gentlemen. 007's Raucous emojis from Michael, financially gifting $50 as well over here on Entropy. God bless you, Michael. Good to see you. $50. And he writes with those 50 beautiful Save the White Baby dollars. 07. Big 07s back to you, Michael. Raucous emojis and celebrate Michael over here on the Dude Bro Moment platform, aka Entropy. I see Kitty is over here. Janitor of a White Noir is over here as well. Ivan Zahababul is here on Premium Rumble. Good to see you, my brother. Spartan is over here as well. He says, no white guilt. They act like Jason has not called out Jewish criminals in power, which he has, of course. But they don't want white people talked about. That's all it is. Focusing on white people, they just viscerally don't like that. They hate that. They have their whole ego depends on all of their failures being a result of human beings being born Jewish. And so when you focus on us, they're like, wait a second, I'm responsible to some degree for what's happened in my life. Great point, but thank you, brother. Good to see you. Double G Mass. Hello and welcome. There are Double G Mass. We bring up the problems that anti-whites create for white people, irrespective of their birth. Their birth doesn't matter to me because I'm more important than an anti-white. So you can do the math together. If we object to all anti-whiteism, are we going to get all the anti-whites? Yes. They're all going to be criticized. And that's all that matters to me. Because that is how we can end our victimization. We're going to be heading over to the Rebel Roundtable in just a moment. I don't see any other gifts or comments. If you have tagged me, then do it again quickly so that I can see you before we roll out. Tree Godfather says, I'm off to bed. I'll miss the Rebel Roundtable. Well, have a good rest, brother. I did see you mention something earlier, but I was in the middle of shouting about something. So I don't know what it is, though. No, I didn't hear about. Was it an airplane or something? I didn't see what that is. You'll have to send me a link to it. We have over here, we have First Last with a $5 bill coming into the House of Swash like a champion he is. And $5, and he writes, steady wisdom. I appreciate that, good sir. Thank you. We also have another $5 bill over his head walking into the House of Swash, and it's Weldon. And he writes, God bless. Well, God bless you. Great to see you in the House of Swash tonight. The only house for the well-being of white people. Let me just take a quick look here, see if we missed anybody. We will have to save our core principles. I was going to read the rejection of anti-white narratives. We'll have to save that for next Wednesday. We'll get into that at that time. Just over here on Grokipedia, you'll be able to find it. We were down to core principles and the rejection of the anti-white narrative. So the first sentence here, the Go Free method posits that individuals of European descent are subject to pervasive anti-white narratives propagated through media education and social discourse, which frame whites as inherently oppressive or privileged at the expense of others. So you can see the genius of our work is perfectly articulated by the AI Grok when prompted to define what we are here in service to white well-being and the practice. You can see there how absolutely magnificently, gloriously intelligent the practice is. Sean was here a little earlier, said stop by, gave it a like and a save, and reposted the live stream. Thank you, brother. He said he's off back to work, but he'll look forward to seeing us all on Sunday. Sunday. Witchmaster is here. Good to see you. Shannon Oliver is with us. Great to see you, brother. Looking for tags. We'll be wrapping it up here in a second, heading on over to the Rebel Roundtable. Eagleheart is here. Good to see you. Garlos showed up tonight. Thank you for coming over. Odin Saya. Good to see you, brother. Thank you for coming over. I don't think I missed any other tags. All right, then. We'll be turning this sucker over to the one and only Fourneau. In the Middle East, but it also continues here, continues in our heart, because we are righteously indignant over our victimization. We redeem ourselves and our brothers and sisters with love and hope as we go out into the world, transforming lives, fighting on the battlefield on which we lost the West, the dinner table, the lathe, the water cooler. Only by this method will we become a people and be able to resist all of this victimization in greater and greater degree as we move forward. God bless you all for coming by for Church of the West Wednesday edition. I'll see you at the Rebel Roundtable.
'Cause I'm proud and white, I got a song to sing. Well, I said a few